Hello everyone, welcome back for some more Let's Play Witch on the Holy Nights. We completed last time the side episode there. We completed the episode 1.5 and now we can actually move on to proper episode 2 or chapter 2. Regardless, we're moving on and I'm excited because yeah, here we go. Little happening of last night. There's just a little thing that happened last night. Whoa, that angle. Whoa, that's cool. That's real cool. Yo, that's a city.
都会は魔界だ
Yeah, for you it is, bud, that's for sure.
けど慣れれば割と住みやすいとは思う
It's kind of true. Again, I myself have moved to a big city and I sort of see how that is. Hey, it's that song that somehow I was able to play last time. I tried it and it worked fine. Maybe if I just speak over it and don't give time to listen, then it should be fine. Soujyuro sighed listlessly. He looked down at the winter schoolyard below, lost in thought. Maybe it's because it was like an hour some in. Maybe this time it won't and I'll have to remove it again. I don't know. December was written on the corner of the chalkboard. Could not believe 10 days had already passed since he transferred to... That's wild because it's like December 10th right now. The last vestiges of autumn had faded with the change of the month. The trees were all but barren, and the ground below them a mat of fallen leaves. Fourth period was classics. An elderly teacher stood at the lectern and rambled on. While he had finally gotten used to the classroom, he still had a long way to go to get up to speed in his classes. Lacking even the basic understanding most students learn in the early scholastic life, it was a battle for Soujyuro to keep up. Even if he was unable to grasp all the content right away, he at least tried to memorize everything in the hope that he could make use of it down the road. Which is why losing himself in his thoughts was about the last thing he should have been doing. He would normally chastise himself for daydreaming, but... He's like, whoa, the aesthetics. Troublingly, he was unable to concentrate in class today. Soujyuro could not place the source of his lack of concentration. It could not have been the winter in the city. It was much milder than in the mountains. Neither was his part-time job particularly tiring. He was not any more physically fatigued than the average student, so that could not be it either. Others might conclude that it was because the courses were boring, but that seemed off the mark too. Soujyuro did not share his classmates' opinions about the classes. On the contrary, he rather enjoyed his class time. No, his frame of mind was not to blame either. Trying to figure out what was wrong only made him more depressed.
いけないこんなんじゃ気が散る一方だ
He scolded himself and turned his attention to the chalkboard. The rhythmic ticks of the chalk were sending him into a slumber, but somehow he managed to resist their lullaby. Yo, shout out to the fact that we don't use chalk anymore. I was in school for 1 year with chalkboards before they ripped them all out for whiteboards, because they were like, yeah, chalk gives children like horrible lung disease. And yet, he was still able to focus on the class. Unable, rather. That's the better word. Soujyuro reflected silently, as was his custom, and sighed inwardly. Deep down, he knew the real source of his agitation. The events of the previous night were the only thing it could be. Oh, that funny little thing that happened last night. With the chime to signal the end of class, the teacher bowed and exited into the hallway. To see him off, the 30, dang, those are big classes. I mean, normal size for back home, but man, I'm dealing with like 18, 19, 20 students. It's so much nicer. 30 or so students all stood up from their desks. The clock, which seemed to slow dramatically around the 11:30, now struck noon. The tension seemed to fade away from the room all at once. Characters that were once in shadow are no longer. The release from a difficult lesson was the start of lunchtime, the highlight of school life. Misaki High's cafeteria was not particularly known for its quality of food. Complaints that the quality was below that of the private school went unheeded, and the same unique flavors appeared on the menu each and every day. Can I just say, for the first time in my life, I got to try proper cafeteria food, and like, it's not bad. It's not bad at all. Mind you, I'm at a school probably about the same level of affluence as this school, but I went there and like I still have money on my card. I would use that if I wasn't teaching online again because of the big C again. That's right, it's back. Not me, but just in general. But no, like I was having some good lunches there. Private school prices coupled with subpar quality led the majority of students to opt for boxed lunches instead, plus you can do amazing social links that way. Soujyuro's Class 2C was no exception. The boys muscled as many as 10 desks into what resembled a long dining table. Conversely, the girls divided themselves into smaller tables of 2 or 3 desks with practice seats and started chatting with their cliques. That's so funny. All the boys are like, come join the boys. It's all the boys, let's go. Not a single student wasted even a second of the precious lunchtime. Where both sides differed in method, they shared a common goal. Soujyuro was struck dumb by the efficiency of this transformation. Even after 10 days, he was unable to keep pace with the rest of the class and remained seated where he sat during the previous period.
Oi! Kochiko Shizuki!
Look at them, inviting him in. The voice came from the large makeshift dining table near the window. Hey. Osuke Kinomi was beckoning him over while leaning back in his chair in a way that looked like he could fall back at any second. He was regularly shot down by others in the class for being lazy and crass, but his earnest nature kept him from getting on anyone's bad side. Though something could be said for not being so forthcoming all the time, too.
Meshi ni shiyou ze, meshi.
He's like, rub-a-dub-dub. I want to get this grub.
俺さ、昨日店の残り物もらいすぎたんだよ。春巻きだよ、春巻き。それを見た親父がさ、もらったもんは残すなってうるさくてさ。
I am in China and I've not had good spring rolls yet here. I need to get some. Oh man. Whoa, thank you for reminding me. It seemed his endgame was to find someone who might take pity on him and trade him for something better. Or is that one of those things where it's like the American spring rolls, like an American invention and they don't actually have it in China? It might be one of those things. The two of them worked at the same restaurant, so he was one of the few people Soujyuro knew before starting school. It was also the reason Soujyuro was able to learn the true meaning of the phrase, can't live with him, can't live without him. Women?
お、いいな。しずきも来いよ。今日は待ちに待った缶詰祭りをすっからさ。
The Can Matsuri?
ついに結婚するのかよ。
Oh boy.
誰か冷静になった方がいいんじゃないのか？
What's happening?
バカ、すげえ楽しいってきっと。そりゃパチモン臭いけど、カニ缶とか食い放題なんだぜ。サバ缶じゃなくて。
Wait, what's happening?
マジ？やったー！俺も参加する！コンビーフは一人一個？それとも早い者勝ち？
Is it just they bought a whole bunch of canned food and they're all just passing it around?
お前な、一人で何個も食えるもんじゃねえぞあれ。うまいのは最初の一個だけだって。
しずきたちが来るならノルマは一人7個に下がるのか。助かるな。
ところで木の実の弁当の中身、なんか缶詰より硬そうじゃね？
Boys usually pass the time by making fun of each other's lunches, but today they were united against a common foe. A pyramid of countless cans stood in the middle of the table. They had all been taken from the pantry of a certain student's house. The expiration dates on them had all been scribbled. Oh no. Oh no, don't do that.
よし、やろうども。各自毎缶切りの用意はいいな。
Oh my god, this is... I don't want this, because I'm someone who, if it is a day before the expiration date, I can't eat it.
食べるも地獄、残すも地獄。我ら5次元目の授業はないものと恐れぬ修羅となり、鉄の悪魔どもを平らげん。
You guys are gonna get the shits like nobody's business.
食材は下町の何でも紹介、マーケット中山からの提供です。
ヒュー！バカも休み休みイエーイ！
The boys united as one and hoisted their can openers into the air.
ほら、しずきも食べようぜ。缶切りならまだあるからさ。
Alright though, but if you were to ask me for a perfect definition of just guys being dudes, just, you know, hanging out with the boys, a pyramid of canned food and everyone having a can opener and going to town, that's a boys moment.
いや、君らの弁当の毒味はごめんだって昨日言ったはずだ。それに、その缶詰半分以上、賞味期限切れてるだろう。
なんだよ、釣れねえな。
No, I'm with him here though. Quite an inexplicably excited group of guys. Their real motivation seemed to be to spread the pain. But moved by their energy and conceding defeat, Soujyuro got up from his seat and joined him. Before he could,
じゃあ私たちが釣り上げようかな。
that's Nero's voice.
しずきくん、あんなの放っておいて一緒にどう？
I'm 90% sure that's Nero's voice. Another interested party joined the fray. A girl with short but stylish hair called out to him. She also tried to get Soujyuro to join the track and field club several days earlier.
いや、そっちも遠慮したいな、できれば。
He answered with a troubled look on his face. On their table was nothing but a pile of fruit Soujyuro had never seen before.
なんで？パパイヤとか嫌い？マンゴーもあるし、ヤシの実だってあるし、内緒だけど、夕張メロンもあるんだから。
This dude's probably only seen like 2 fruit in his entire life. The members of the fruit group. Ooh, don't call him that. Don't call him that. Don't like that. I'd rather you just call him a... Ooh. Please, let's call them the LGBTQ. Come on, let's be honest here. Pump their fists in unison at that last delicacy.
待て、なんだヤシの実って、あれ食えるもんなの？
Yes, you can, buddy. Oh my god. You just eat the meat.
あ、マンゴー余ったら回してほしいな。
バカ、肉食え肉。そんなんだから貧弱な体してんだぞ、お前ら。
Oh, you're a interesting one. Soujyuro couldn't keep track of all the voices flying across the room.
わかるのは、どっちも破滅的だってことだけだ。
He's like, I have processed food on one side and fruit on the other. These are both equally evil. I'm the definition of a centrist. That being said, he found it difficult to refuse them outright. His tendency to accept others' goodwill at face value occasionally left him frozen with indecision. Not accustomed to regular human interaction, he was unable to judge when it was or was not appropriate to turn someone down. Someone tapped the lost little lamb on the shoulder.
ほっとけほっとけ。いちいちここのバカどもに付き合ってちゃ人生台無しだ。適当に流しとけばいいんだよ。ほら、お前らもな、善良な羊を悪の園に引きずり込んでんじゃねえよ。
An inappropriately loud voice echoed throughout the classroom from behind him.
副会長。
Soujyuro turned around to see a boy about a head taller than him. His long hair, while unkempt, had been brushed back, giving it an appealingly side or windswept look. His attractive features belied the contempt for the classroom his eyes carried. Unlike the perpetually dopey-looking Soujyuro, he was an extremely attractive boy, capable of captivating anyone who so much as glanced at him. In most cases, such a boy's presence would be met with awe and respect, however...
なんだよ、副会長様のお出ましかよ。
They gave him the sama.
てめえらのバカ顔にはコリゴリだって、学食に陣取ってたんじゃなかったのかよ。
Oh, they don't like him.
へへへ。ここは見ての通り、ボンクラどもが集う貧民街でございますよ。王子はほら、A組の綺麗どころとカフェでお茶でもしてればいいじゃない。
Oh, he's in Aoko's class.
またしずき呼びに来たのかよ。青子女子といい、飛び丸殿下といい。しずき、なんかヤバいことしちゃったのか？
しずきくんは校則違反しないじゃん。ちょっとそれ以外のルール破るだけで。
I mean, he did try to jump out a window.
ことはやっぱり築地くん、青崎に振られてからそっちに走ったって本当だったのね。
See, they're excited because they're the fruit group. They want another one. They continue to give him a hard time. Soujyuro could not help but feel sorry for him. The class vice president, on the other hand, showed absolutely no reaction whatsoever. He glared at them with a bored look and simply raised his voice.
相変わらず無駄に元気があって結構じゃねえかてめえら。
He's definitely not the type, like, from first glance, you're like, oh, this is the pompous rich guy. But, like, you think he's the more respectable type, and then you speak to him and like, oh no, you're a weirdo and kind of rude.
そんなに活力たぎってんなら冬季特別清掃班にだって参加できるよな。おい、今んところ自主的に申し出てるのは全校で一人しかいねえんだ。西全員が参加すりゃ俺も青崎も肩の荷が下りるってもんなんだがよ。
The menacing growl in his voice contrasted greatly with the boy's well-constructed looks. Okay, well, it's literally saying what I just said. Both Team Canned and Team Fruit's words were doused like a fire being smothered. This was partly due to their fear of the boy, but mostly due to their fear of the special winter cleaning team. Yes, the special winter cleaning team. Joining men spending part of your winter break cleaning up the old school building and mountainous rear courtyard that had been neglected by the previous 2 student councils. It was a form of legalized torture that could potentially ruin 3 whole days of your winter break. and forget about any compensation in the form of extra credits. That was pointless volunteer work for a student council project. It was a miracle that they found even a single volunteer.
いや、僕らちょっと体弱いんで、スミッチョで缶詰食べてますね。
私たちも貧血気味で、こうやって果物食べてないと死んじゃうっていうか、冬休みはもう予定いっぱいっていうか。
Bro, we'll die if we don't eat this fruit. All the students but one scuffled away.
よし、昼食はやっぱり静かにやらねえとな。1年坊主の教室より2年の教室の方がやかましいなんて苦情。いい加減にしやがれよ、アホども。
The mob meekly scurried away. Soujyuro turned to join them, but as he did...
あ、お前はこっちだ、宗次郎。ちょい顔貸せ。
Uh-oh. The hand on his shoulder held him in place.
だよ、生徒会応募。人んちのテーブルマナーまで指図してほしくねえよな。
Kinomi cursed under his breath to his friends. Wait, Kinomi cursed under his breath to his friends. The second. Okay, he cursed under his breath to his friends. The second, the vice president turned to go. Okay, that's a very strange sentence.
はあ？上等じゃねえか、木の実。いいぜ。お前が記念すべき2人目だ。冬休み、首を洗って待ってやがれ。
The vice president must have heard everything Kinomi said because he gave a thumbs up before figuratively jabbing it in his eye.
はあ？何言ってんですか、あいつ。あれ自主的なイベントじゃん。いくら副会長だって強制はできないですよね。
Oh, buddy. Wait till you get a career job. You'll quickly learn the idea of forced volunteerism. The problem child of Class C laughed merrily.
そりゃ昨日までの話だ。会長の提案が学校側に受理されてな。本日付で生徒会役員は強制力のある推薦権をもらえたんだよ。
Wow, that's cruel.
特に会長と副会長の推薦は絶対だ。拒否した場合、学校側はともかく青崎が何するか俺には止められねえから、そのつもりでな。
それ事実上の死刑宣告じゃ。生徒会マジ応募。
Kinomi's terrified shrieking continued behind them as the vice president and Soujyuro left the classroom. So does that mean he got forced to do it? Dang, bro. 3 days of winter vacation. That sucks. It's rough, buddy.
お前も大変だな、宗次郎。
But what did he do?
あんたも割と暇なんだな、副会長。
The two entered the empty student council room. Misaki High's student council had the use of 2 rooms. One was a large office, specifically made for the student council. The second was an archive room, once used as a preparatory office for math courses. As the latter of the two, the walls were lined with densely packed shelves, making an already cramped room seem even more confined. For this reason, it served more as a private refuge to the student council. The 2 students sat across from one another. Tobimaru Tsukiji. He was the son of the chairman of Misaki High School. Oh, interesting. And the vice president of its student council. Like Soujyuro, he was in his 2nd year and first met the transfer student a week earlier, with the task of looking after him was dumped onto the student council.
副会長はやめろって。クソったれな話だが、俺は所詮会長の犬だからな。
Dang. As self-deprecating as his words were, he hardly seemed dissatisfied with the arrangement. He took a snack from his pocket and grimaced at it before taking a bite. A 100-calorie energy bar sacrificed flavor for efficiency, but somehow not enough to prevent him from gnawing on it like a piece of jerky.
そうか。でも犬は良くないな、飛び丸。
Soujyuro sat in the chair with a concerned look on his face.
あ？犬がどうしたって？
犬は良くないって言った。例えが違う気がするし、何より怖いぞ、あれ。
What do you have against dogs, bro?
なんだよ。山奥育ちのくせに。
Okay, but I guess because to him dogs are like wild dogs, which is fair.
そりゃ大抵の生き物は怖いけど、犬は別格だ。
Huh.
徒党を組んだ野犬ほど始末に追えないものはない。足の速さも脅威だけど、何より執念深すぎる。 坂だろうと追いかけてくるし、最後の一匹になるまで引かないんだぞ。
Terrifying. Soujyuro opened his lunch as he spoke. Inside the bright green cloth, 3 beautifully made triangular rice balls. I have one of those in my fridge. I bought some today.
ショックだ。
ショックって何が？
いや、そんなこの世のものとは思えない握り飯を見たのは初めてだ。思わず絶句しちまった。
それどっちなんだ？
褒めてるんだよ、バカ。
Saying you make rice balls good, bro. You know how hard it is to make rice balls, actually? Yeah, give it a try. I dare you. Without a mold, freehanding it, you won't. Soujyuro was always confounded by phrasing that could be interpreted in multiple ways. Euphemisms and subtle sarcasm were often lost on him. It was only on rare occasions like this one that they chose to confirm what was being said. Tobimaru had come to suspect that Soujyuro had a very black and white way of seeing things.
ところで、
I'm not going to diagnose him with
その固
something,
まった
but
小麦粉みたい
boy...
なの美味しいのか？
I'm not going to diagnose him with anything, but boy... That lines up. Huh. Soujyuro stared at the energy bar with a curious look on his face.
まずくはねえが、うまくもねえよ。まあ、試してみる分には止めねえが。人間、何事も手間暇惜しむようになっちゃおしまいだぜ。
Tobimaru quickly finished off his bar, put another one on the table, and grabbed one of Sojuro's rice balls. Soujyuro failed to notice the rudeness of this forced exchange, but he gave the proffered. That's a new one. Energy bar a try.
なんだか土を食べてるみたいだ。
That's the flavor, baby. All natural.
違いない。遊びをなくせば人生こんなもんだって見本だな。
So why are you eating it? Out of principle, Soujyuro labored over his energy bar, cringing all the while. He was both curious of the unknown and loath to leave something unfinished.
今無理に平らげる必要はねえぞ。そいつの利点は携帯食ってところだからな。素で味気ないが、食えるうちは味が落ちないのがいいところだ。
That's like the worst thing you could say about something to eat. It's like, how's the flavor? Well, it doesn't change while I eat it. Good, I guess?
まあ、そっちはともかく。どうだ、少しは慣れたか？
ああ、飛び丸や青崎が気を使ってくれているからね。
Tobimaru turned his eyes up to the ceiling, unable to handle Sojuro's carefree smile. As absent-minded as Soujyuro might have been, his expressions were, nonetheless, incredibly earnest. It was like poison to someone as self-absorbed as Tobimaru.
だから青崎は来ねえんだよな。
He took a bite from the rice ball to steer himself away from such thoughts. Though now cold, the rice had managed to maintain its freshness, startling Tobimaru.
ん？いや待て。気を使ってんのは俺だけじゃねえか。青崎なんてお前が転入した日に彼迷惑だから見張ってての。
なんでそこで君が怒るんだ？
いや、だからだな。お前が学校になれるよう陰ながら見守ってんのは俺で、青崎は生徒会室で全校生徒の弱みを集めてるだけって話だ。
Sorry,
面倒な苦労してんのは俺だけじゃねえかって。
What's she doing? What do you mean digging up dirt? Is she the type who just digs up drama for the sake of it? Tobimaru stopped himself, realizing how ridiculous he sounded. Soujyuro, rightly so, it was nothing to get this upset over.
まあ、いいさ。青崎に言いつけられなきゃこうなることもなかったしな。知ってるか？あいつ、どうして俺にこんな役させたと思う？
It's because you're the only 2 people in the student council, I'm guessing?
副会長だからだろ。
Tobimaru's handsome face went dark.
あのな、どうして副会長が転入生一人にかかりっきりにならなくちゃいけねえんだよ。いいぜ。機会があったら青崎本人に聞いてみな。あいつの本性がわかるからよ。
She's like, she's some kind of witch on the holy night. He snatched up another bite of the rice ball while grumbling under his breath. There was again, rice grains that were just dry enough to be fresh and tender in the mouth, a morsel that betrayed its humble description, which must have been delicately molded by a master chef rather than haphazardly clumped into a ball. Oh, is he gonna be our cook guy? Are we doing him?
そして何よりこの塩加減、中の具から染み出した厳妙
Nice.
な醤油加減はどうだ。食欲をそそるどころか、脳を食欲だけにするような。おお。
Good. Good. I was like, are we gonna get the Nasu food porn? And yep, we do.
飛び丸、思ってることが口に出てるみたいだけど。
あ、いや、それほどのショックだったってわけだ。
Surprised for how even pedestrian a scene this is. They're going crazy with the camera work.
なあ、その字。これ具はなんだ？
I had people trying to explain Sonoji as a nickname for him, and yeah, esoteric is the right word. It's related, but barely. It's only natural to inquire about the unexpectedly delicious bite. He had been nibbling around the edges and had not quite reached its center.
ああ、それはイナゴ。
Oh, see, that's actually something that I've seen for sale here. And when I had it offered, I said, no, I'm good.
ありえねえ。
The vice president choked on his cough. Apparently, from what I hear from my coworkers, it's not bad. It's like salty like popcorn. He'd assumed that Soujyuro would prefer eating earthy ingredients instead of seafood on account of his mountain life, but he never expected he would use grasshoppers. Even though grasshoppers are kind of just the shrimp of the land, really.
くそ、食う前に言えよな。信じられねえぐらいうまいと思っちまったじゃねえか。
No, I've only heard good things about eating grasshopper. Legit. I probably still wouldn't.
ああ、今のは嘘だよ。
Dang, you got him. They locked eyes for a moment. I just wanted to zoom in. He's like, no, I'm not.
本当は鮭。いくらなんでもイナゴはね。
Aw, salmon is good.
おお、そうだよな。いや、安心した。いくらなんでもイナゴはねえよな。
No, but actually, how would you even for a second not know what salmon is like? How do you prepare salmon in a way that you wouldn't immediately know it's salmon?
ああ、こんな都会で身の締まったイナゴが手に入るもんか。
Nice. Get him. As curious as those words were, Tobimaro decided to let them go.
たく、どっちにしても冗談きついぜ。危うく吐き出すところだったじゃねえか。らしくねえぞ、宗十郎。
君が青崎の悪口を言うからだ。
Oh, dang. A little bit of a white knight. Oh, my God, that face. God, you are just... You're just a little guy. Soujyuro closed his eyes as he continued to chew on his rice ball, much like a rabbit. Tobimaro watched incredulously as Soujyuro made no attempt to hide his disapproval.
おい、今のはさすがに聞き捨てならねえぞ。俺が青崎の悪口を言ったから、異種返しをしたと、そういうことか？
It's like, well, of course, all women are queens, bro. Soujyuro continued chewing. Country boy's silent protest said all that needed to be said. Vice President suddenly looked like he had been struck by lightning.
なんてこった。お前、まさか青崎に惚れてんのか？そうなのか？そうなんだな。おい、眠ってねえで起きろ。
Tobimaro flew out of his chair and violently shook Soujyuro by the shoulders. Soujyuro opened his eyes.
そうか。お前は1年前の惨劇を知らないんだな。
Okay.
知ってりゃ、そんなストレートな破滅願望を持つこともなかったろうに。
君の言葉には誤解が含まれてるけど、それは後にする。それより、
Face.
1年前の惨劇って？
That stupid little face. Tobimaro regained his composure and sat down after a moment's thought.
仕方ねえ。この手の噂をするのは好きじゃねえんだけどな。
What are you saying? No, you do. I know you do, you slut. Tobimaro reassured himself that it was in Sojuro's best interest as a young man to know. This dude is the dude. This dude loves gossip. There's no way he doesn't.
あれは青崎がまだ1年の頃の話だ。
Year one, right? I really wish they would stop using the terms like freshman, junior, sophomore. Because I'm going to be honest, there's only one country in the world that uses those, and it's America. We don't use those in Canada.
あの頃はみんな入学したばっかりで、青崎がどんな性格か誰も知らなかった。
How do they keep reusing sprites in the most creative frickin' ways?
あいつ、外見は文句なしに美人だからな。そりゃ男どもは狂気乱舞したもんさ。
Understandable. Little did they know that soon after they would go crazy for an entirely different reason.
4月5月はもう上を下への大騒ぎだよ。あの時ばかりは上級生も下級生もなかったな。野郎同士の牽制、共闘、果ては決闘まで。まあよくも騒いだもんさ。
なんでそんなよくわからない事態になるんだ？
そりゃ青崎は一人きり、命知らずな野郎は延べ100人ほどいたからだよ。
To this day, people are still, in shock from the Great Aozaki War.
一人一人青崎とランチしても3ヶ月かかるだろ。だからまずは男同士でつまんねえ暗闘があったのさ。
I was joking, but that actually might be what it is.
まあいい。わからねえならそこは飛ばそう。所詮負け犬どもの話だしな。でな、そんなどうでもいい戦いを勝ち残った奴らは列なして1年の女に言い寄ったわけだ。青崎はあれで、なんていうか、相手のなけなしの誠意じゃなくてあれか、勇気。そういうのを無視できずに認めちまうやつだからな。
Huh, interesting.
言い寄ってくる相手を可能な限り丁寧に断ってた。が、中にはそれで勘違いしちまうやつもいてよ。
Is that a generic silhouette or is that an actual person?
3年のある野郎が、
Oh,
これは
30-year.
脈ありと見て、青崎に何度も言い寄ったんだよ。多分、そいつ頭がおかしかったんだ。
Incidentally, Tobimar decided to gloss over the fact that the student was also the former student council president. Oh.
学園ばかりか。青崎の家まで押しかけたそうで
Oh.
な。あまりにしつこいんで、青崎も堪忍袋の尾が切れたんだろう。ちょっと口にするのははばかられる方法で振ったんだよ。
She did loops on him in the corner. Oh, frick. I was
そいつは
joking.
自分から他校に転入希望したばかりか、三崎町からも逃げ出しちまって、青崎も1ヶ月ばかり自宅謹慎を食らった。
Dang. Dang, she hit him with the Ryu donkey kick.
世に言う血の公会堂事件だ。
Sick.
詳しく知りたけりゃ本人はまずいな。新聞部にでも行け。あそこの部長は命知らずだから、聞けば面白がって教えてくれる。
Yo, that's my MC.
飛び丸、その具体的な表現を恋に避けてないか？
仕方ねえだろ。理事長の息子だろうがなんだろうが、怖いものは怖えし、高校ぐらいは無事卒業しとかねえとな。
Better than wanting to graduate in Bleach, I guess.
うちの女子の制服見るたびに規制を上げるトラウマなんて持ちたくねえよ。
Yeah, if you wanted to do that, just become a weeb, bro. Soujyuro tilted his head to the side in confusion. Tobimaro had lost him with that comment.
まあいい。それより、なんで青崎なんかがいいんだよ、宗次郎。
He tilted his head again, this time to the other side.
おい、お前、本当に青崎が好きなのか？単に胸がドキドキ言ってるだけなら、それは恋じゃなくて恐怖だってオチもあるぜ。いくらその字がぼんやりでも、理由ってもんがあるだろう。
I want to just be like, I just think she's neat. He tilted his head even further. What Tobimaro was saying sounded off, but Soujyuro decided not to press the matter. All the more because he found many of his own emotions towards Aoko Ozaki to be incomprehensible.
そうだな、おかしい。俺はあまり彼女を知らないのにね。
That was because they had not truly spoken to each other since the day she showed him around. Every time Soujyuro tried to talk to her, she immediately got up and left. As fate would have it, they ended up working together that recent Sunday, but made only idle chatter on the way back. I don't know, bro. You kind of asked her out on a date and she turned you down because the theme park wasn't there.
けど飛び丸、君は知らないだけなんだ。時々なんだが、誰かの視線を感じて振り返ってみると、 いつ失敗するかを心配して見ている人がいる。
I mean, sort of in the way that someone looks at a puppy trying to go upstairs, you know?
飛び丸の言う通り、ただ廊下で俺を見かけて単に監視していただけなのかもしれない。本当は俺のことなんて気にせず素通りしたいのかもしれないけど、どんな種類であれ彼女の心配は本物だ。それにここが一番大事だと思うんだけど、実際の話、青崎のそういうところのおかげで、俺は助かっていたりするんだ。
His tone was measured and sincere. Tobimaru sighed with a tinge of regret. Not for those words, he could have introduced Soujyuro to a more suitable girl with whom he could have lived out the rest of his school days in peace. He never went to such lengths for his other friends. Generally speaking, if it was of some benefit to him, he was unafraid of exploiting another. They were of no use, he didn't bother getting involved with them. That was just how Tobimaru Tsukiji operated. Soujyuro happened to be the type of person who provided no benefit to Tobimaru, yet somehow sparked in him a desire to help. It was not that friendship was completely alien to him, he just did not have many people that he felt close to. So if Soujyuro had really fallen for Aoko, it was not his place as a friend to try to change his mind.
やれやれ。結局、惚れてるやつには理由なんていらねえんだな。
そんなことはない。理由なら一つある。彼女を一目見たときに綺麗だなって思ったぞ。
You are so honest.
ん？
Tobimaru's shoulders slumped.
なんだ？あんだけ恥ずかしいセリフ言っといて、要は外見に惚れてますな。結局見てくれかよ、宗次郎。
綺麗なものに見とれるのはいいことじゃないのか？自分を綺麗に見せる努力をしているんだから、外見から内面を判断するのはそんなおかしな話じゃないと思う。
I mean, fair.
ん？
He's like, I can't argue. That sounded like a sophism to Tobimaru, but he had no counterpoint to offer.
しょうがねえ。わかったよ。この話はもうやめよう。その字が誰をてめえの女にするか、俺の知ったことじゃねえし。
Now, about the one major thing Tobimaru had been mistaken about this whole conversation, namely that Soujyuro was not head over heels in love with Aoko and hoped to go steady with her. He merely liked her as a person. Nobody could have foreseen the massive calamity that would be caused by the simple misunderstanding. Oh no.
だがよ、一つだけ忠告しておくぜ、宗次郎。
Oh, frick, is it gonna be tell her how you feel or something?
青崎は喧嘩をした相手だろうと別に嫌うわけじゃない。逆に言えば親切にしたって別に好かれるわけでもない。いい例が俺だ。
He spoke with the pained sighs of opening old wounds from the past.
そうか。詳しく。
おう、昔な、あいつがあんまりに独善的だったんで、つ
Dang.
い手を挙げかけちまったことがある。
Like actually? Bro, all women are queens though.
半年前の夏だ。1年もあいつと生徒会やってたもんだから、俺も女っつうより戦友って気になっててな。
Okay.
つい勢いで平手打ちをしようと右手を上げた。我ながら4番バッターも各やという腰のひねり。確かな実感とともに俺は勝利を確信したもんさ。
It's just funny because you could literally press forward heavy with Aoko, and yeah, she'll show you a few mean right hooks. He had a distant look in his eyes as his words trailed off.
翌日になって、こりゃ完全に敵扱いされたなと覚悟して生徒会室に行ってみりゃ。で、以来あいつと俺は会長と副会長で収まってる。
Soujyuro cited his story. He then said with absolute confidence,
今の話を総合すると、君は単にのろけたいのか？
Dang. Clearly, he had missed the point entirely.
なわけあるか！今の話のどこに甘酸っぱい要素があんだよ。俺としちゃあいつを女として見なくなった決定的な事件だったんだがね。
なんだ、違うのか？
A look of disappointment flitted across Sojuro's face. Tobimaru revised his opinion of him. Soujyuro was something of a simpleton, but there was Something more about him that Tobimaru could not quite place.
とにかくだ。俺が言いたいのは、青崎青子の好き嫌いの基準ってのは普通じゃないってことだ。いいことをすれば好かれる。気に入らないことをすれば嫌われる。ってわけじゃねえんだよ。
Soujyuro answered that he would keep it in mind as he looked to the clock. They had been talking for a while and lunch was almost
も
over.
う君からの話はないか？
あ？初めからねえよ、そんなの。
ん？
Why had Tobimaru even brought him here in the first place? Soujyuro tilted his head in wonder, but shook it off to deal with the more pressing matters at hand.
よし。じゃあもう少し付き合ってくれ。飛び丸に聞きたいことがあったんだ。
ん？
Tobimaru sat up straight, having never seen Sojuro's face look so serious before. Soujyuro set aside his rice ball and cleared his throat.
実は昨日、こんなことがあって。
He spoke solemnly, and as carefully as possible, he recounted what had occurred the night before. I was going to say, he kept kind of bringing it up, but we don't actually know, right?
しずきくんいる？
It was 10 to 12, and lunchtime was quickly coming to an end. Her face popped into Class C, as lively as ever. As if it were an everyday occurrence, Aoko Ozaki announced her presence. While Aoko was in part of Class C, she didn't let it bother her as she casually entered the classroom. In contrast, the baby birds who had been so noisily chirping while eating lunch quickly quieted and began to rearrange their seats. I was literally thinking we were talking about actual baby birds outside for a second, but no.
どういう意味よそれ。
She bristled internally before looking around the room. She could not see the male student she had come here to find. He hardly stood out, so she thought he might be hidden in a corner somewhere, but that appeared to be not the case.
有里くん、出席番号12番のしずきくんは？
Aoko kept her tone professional.
え、俺？しずきならさっき飛び丸殿下が連れて行ったよ。
I've never even heard that. Denka? That's new. The boy was shocked that she actually knew his name. One might think that the reason students referred to Tobimaru Tsukiji by a royal title was because he was the chairman's son, but it was actually because he just acted like royalty. In fact, the vice president was said to have taken a liking to the title. Oh, okay, never mind.
飛び丸が？あいつしずきくんと仲いいの？
She seemed surprised. The class seemed surprised at her surprise.
いいも悪いも、築地くんが男子と仲良く話してるのって今まで見たことなかったよ、私たち。あ、木の実くんはバカだから別だけど。
そうだよな。初めは殿下もあんまり話してなかったけど、3日もしたら楽しそうに口喧嘩してたもんな。
ま、しずき相手に突っ張っても仕方ないじゃん。あいつ変だけどいいやつだし。
That's his phrase again.
そうよね。いい人だもんね、宗十郎くん。
Having recomposed themselves, Class C started chatting again. Aoko listened for a bit before turning around and leaving the classroom with a later. Jane. All the Soujyuro talk finished as quickly as it had started. Lunchtime was coming to a close in the student council room. Soujyuro, having told his story, was smiling in satisfaction. Tobimaru, still sitting across from him, was frowning.
さあ、感想を聞かせてくれ。
We're just looking to avoid it, huh? Soujyuro told his yarn as best he could. Tobimaru fingered his brow as if he was angry or concerned.
なあ、そうのじ。お前、人をバカにできるほど器用なやつじゃねえよ
Dang. Dang.
失礼な。器用な方だぞ、俺は。
His response only confirmed Tobimaru's suspicions. It had to be one of those two possible conclusions. That what Soujyuro had just told him was true, or that Soujyuro was so tired he must have been hallucinating at the time. Tobimaru seriously hoped it was the latter.
宗十郎、率直に言って、俺はお前が気に入っている。嘘のない人間なんてのは人間じゃねえ。俺は人間嫌いだから、そんなお前さんが気に入ってたりするんだが、そんな奴まで馬鹿げたことを言い出したら、俺は明日から何を頼りに昼飯を食えばいいんだ？
Dang.
学食で食べればいいんじゃないか？
Hearing his suggestion, Tobimaru's face darkened.
わかった。はっきり言おう。それは幻覚だ。 幽霊の正体見たり枯れ尾花ってやつだろうさ。
それが君の感想か。よし、ならいいんだ。
That's never a good response to someone who you're like, bro, you didn't see a ghost. I'm like, oh, so that's what you think. Well, that's good to know. Like, what? Oh, God. As bitter as Tobimaru's words might have sounded to most, Soujyuro swallowed them whole.
そりゃ俺だって神隠しの類だと思ったよ。けど都会じゃもしかしてそれもありなのかもしれないだろう。確かめたかったのはそこなんだ。
My man literally was like, so are ghosts normal here? Satisfied, Soujyuro finished off his last rice ball and neatly folded the cloth. I want to be like, oh yeah, it was grasshoppers, by the way.
おい、すると何か？お前は都会の人間は口から火を吹いたり、腕が伸びたりするのが普通だと思ったのか？
Well, this takes place in the 90s, right? Right? I think it does. If I go to the... I can check. If I go to here... It said in the 80s. Well, just as the 80s, they might have played Street Fighter 2, right? Yeah, right? Because that's a Dalsim joke. Street Fighter 2 release date. No, 91, never mind. My man just predicted Street Fighter 2.
まあ普通じゃないけど特別でもないんじゃないかと思ったんだ。ここは山にないものが溢れている何でもありの場所だ。だからそれぐらいやってのける人だってもしかしているのかなと。
That his face was as serious as it was made Tobimaru realize how big a culture shock Soujyuro must have been experiencing. Living up in the mountains with no electricity, in a place where the night sky was always as it always has been, where humans were just one more organism in nature's garden, it makes sense that these conditions would create a boy like him. The idea of children growing up so pure was an appealing one, but maybe it was natural to forgo civilization when your population was so small. Or perhaps it was so simple a world that excessive knowledge was deemed irrelevant. It was precisely because city life offered so much that it was impossible up until now that he had come to the conclusion that anything was possible here.
安心しろ。確かにこっちにはタチの悪い奴らばっかりだけどな。そんな魔法使いみたいな奴はいねえよ。
そうだといいんだけど。
Soujyuro seemed unsure, and on Tobimaru's part, there were things to Sojuro's story that he found hard to swallow. Whether true or not, the incident Soujyuro had described was disturbing.
まあ、事の真偽というか、どんな間違いでそう見えたかは置いておいてだ。結果だけ見れば、うちの生徒が夜の公園で人を殺したってことになる。しかも双方控えめに表現しても普通じゃねえ。
Okay. As a newcomer to town, Soujyuro assumed that everyone his age was a student at this school. For better or worse, he was right.
一人は火炎放射器を持って、
What?
もう一人は、まあなんだ。
Oh.
なぎなたでも持ち出したのか、刃物らしきものが何メートルも伸びたときた。
Well, there's a lot here to take in. Soujyuro bobbed his head up and down as he listened to the disbelief in Tobimaru's voice. Hearing it repeated by someone else, he could see how someone might think he was taking them for a ride.
正気を疑うな。尋常じゃないぞその話。
宗十郎、お前、実は俺をからかってんだろ。
いや、全く。
Yeah, this dude isn't capable of coming up with a tall... Well, then again, actually, okay, so here's the thing, though. Okay, here's the thing. The whole joke about the grasshoppers is brilliant. Because it shows us that... yes, he has the capacity to make jokes, right? Like, he has the capacity to lie. He's not such a pure boy that he only says the objective truth. No, he can have fun, right? And that's good, because that goes to show that, yes, that creates that shadow of a doubt like we have here.
けどまあ、都会にはそんな人間はいないんだろう。なら飛び丸の言う通り、夢でも見てたんだ。ここのところアルバイトと試験が重なって辛くて。
Winter break was just around the corner, and the end of term exams were but a week away. Both were proving formidable opponents for
俺
Soujyuro.
は基本ができてないから、人の倍程度の勉強じゃ追いつけない。ほら、勉強ばかりしているとノイローゼをするんだろう。
Every day I thank God that I I only had to study once I got to university.
そりゃするんじゃなくてなるものだが、何にせよ、やりすぎ飲みすぎはよくねえわな。
減らしてはいるんだけどね。年末ってアルバイトを休む人も多くて、その代行も頼まれがちだし。
And also, thank God I'm a teacher. I have set hours. He shrugged helplessly. It was obvious from his words that he had been busy. Even if he was not going crazy, lack of sleep could have caused him to daydream, even if this all did go down in the middle of the night.
なんだか大変そうだな、宗十郎。
ああ、実はかなり参ってる。
Soujyuro nodded with a pained look on his face. What was strange, however, was that he did not look the least bit tired.
泣き言言わねえのは感心するけどな。お前、新郎は顔に出ないたちか？
Some people are good at just holding it all in.
そりゃ、新郎はどこも痛まないからね。
As he answered, Soujyuro looked up at the clock on the wall. Lunchtime was almost over.
時間だ。
ああ、もうそんなに経ったか。気にせず先に行ってていいぜ。俺は。
Soujyuro watched as Tobimaro made a gesture that seemed to lament the life of a student council member. His eyes looked as if they were looking at a piece of art and not understanding its value.
授業をサボれる身分っていうのは羨ましいな。そういうの、飛び丸が嫌いな手抜きじゃないのか？
そりゃ誤解も甚だしい。俺の欠席は手抜きじゃねえ。特権ってやつだと言ったろ。
The vice president angrily defended himself as he stood up. The transfer student merely gazed at him, unfazed.
おいおい、あれだけ説明したのに全然分かってなかったのか？しょうがねえ。まず座れ。いいか、その字。常人を上回る英気と幸運を兼ね備えながら、座することなく精進してきた俺でも、ここを卒業しちまえば、裸一貫になっちまうんだぞ。
Hey, he recognizes it at least.
ひでえ話だ。てめえの家柄を活用できんのは、あと1年ちょいだけなんだぜ。これの一体どこが羨ましいってんだ。普通一生続くはずの親の七光ってやつが、俺の場合はたった3年間しかねえんだからな。
That's true, because in the real world, what does it matter about being the son of the chair of a school?
となりゃ、有効なうちに使っておかなきゃ、もったいなくておちおち眠ってもいられねえ。ああ、嫌だ嫌だ。何が嫌かって、バカどもとガン首並べて金勘定するのが嫌だ。たく、嫉妬渦巻く大人の世界じゃ、俺のオブラートみたいな心なんてパックリ飲まれて溶けちまうこと受け合いだろうさ。
Well, he must have been joking. Soujyuro took his tone to be completely sincere. He listened as he envied Tobimaru's ability to be so open about his feelings. From his frame of reference, there was nothing he could do but take Tobimaru for his word. When...
あら、そんな権利なんて留年すればいくらでも引き伸ばせるのに。
Uh-oh.
なんなら協力してあげましょうか。この
The door to the student council room flew open, washing away Sojuro's half-hearted response to his friend. This frosty statement destroyed the warm atmosphere of the room, and it also marked the abrupt end to Tobimaru Tsukiji's reign there.
いや、いい。自分の夢は自分の力だけで叶えようと常々思ってるんだ。
Quick, turn it into something with a general moral.
そう。なら今みたいな恥ずかしいこと力説しないでね。廊下にまで聞こえてたわよ、副会長さん。
Not missing a beat, Aoko Ozaki stepped inside the room. Her dark hair was slightly disheveled as if she had been running. Her gaze missed the sitting Soujyuro entirely and was focused completely on the ranting vice president.
頑張れ、飛び丸。
Soujyuro quietly got up to head back to his classroom.
割と薄情なんだな、お前。
Tobimaru grumbled in front of Aoko.
だって時間がない。
だから、そういうのが薄情とだな。
He cut himself off. Aoko briefly shifted her gaze to Soujyuro.
時間がないのは私も同じよ。あなたにはいつも振り回される。
Not a complaint. It was her honest opinion.
なんだ？要件は宗十郎かよ。
It's like, well, someone shit on the floor upstairs. And he's like, oh, what's the bathroom?
安心なさい。あなたにもあるから。
Her eyes shimmered with a murderous glee. It was slightly different from the more sullen gaze to which Tobimaru had grown accustomed. For whatever reason, Aoko's mood seemed worse than usual.
しずきくん、あなた、走るのと泳ぐの、どっちが好き？
That's a terrifying question out of nowhere. Aoko asked abruptly. Soujyuro frowned a little before saying he was fine with either one.
ダメよ。一つにして。
泳ぐ方かな。けど、どうして？
You're a ballsy man to say that in the winter.
あなたがまだどこの部にも所属してないから。
A succinct reply. One that left no room for Soujyuro to object.
うちの校則読んだわよね。生徒はただ一人の例外もなく、部活動に参加しなくてはならない。正直どうかと思う校則だけど、決まりは決まりだから。
So what rule is what club is she in?
そんな無茶な。悪いけど、そこまでの暇はないんだ。
でしょうね。
An equally terse response. She was typically to the point, but Tobimaru got the impression that she was expressly trying to keep her interaction with Soujyuro short. They stared at each other in silence. It's like a... This is a very common trend I'm noticing. Her being angry and him being just kind of oblivious. Tobimaru stood breathlessly silent on the sidelines until Soujyuro broke the impasse.
青崎は分かってると思ってた。あ、いや違う。だから、そこが強いんだろうね。
Wow. Way to butter her up, buddy. Soujyuro stood up from his seat. He walked past Aoko and into the hallway.
それ、明日からでいいんだろ？
しずきくんがいいならね。
He did his best to force a smile before leaving the student council room. But also, what did he mean by that? I mean, I have an idea, but while watching the events play out, Tobimaru found himself deeply impressed with Soujyuro. He could tell from Aoko's behavior that she was trying to get a rise out of Soujyuro. Soujyuro, on the other hand, was none the wiser what Aoko was doing, so he simply went about his way. To Tobimaru, it was hard to believe that Soujyuro had not taken offense. All he observed was the performance of a lifetime in Soujyuro as he maintained a poker face.
いや、でも何が強いんだろうな、会長。
Wanted to be like, well, yeah, he is a boy. He looked at Aoko curiously. Aoko stood completely still, staring at the wall.
青崎？
Aoko showed no response.
おい、会長。青崎。青子女子。おい、聞いてんのかよ、青崎青子。
さいはね、青を呼ぶな。
Her fury echoed across the student council room. It was a beautiful sound that could be heard in the hallway and made Tobimaru's rant from earlier pale in comparison.
やかましい。うるせえのはてめえも同じだ。
Perhaps her shouting was still ringing in his ears, or just the type to answer a shout with a shout, but he shot back reflexively.
そんなんだから男の一人もできねえんだよ、お前は。ほら、目覚めたか？
Dude,
別
you're
にあ
dead.
なたの声は聞こえてた。煩わしかったから無視してただけよ。黙らせるの面倒だし。
てめえな、俺はカカなんかか、おい。
コミュニケーションが成立しない点で言えば、あっちのがまだ上品よね。
ほう、その心は？
お互い何を言ってるかわからない。意味のない会話なら、仰せみたいなものでしょ？
Jeez. Based on that statement, Aoko must have been under the assumption that dating is the act of two lovers whispering nonsense to each other. Oh, she just doesn't know.
問題は、お前にとって意味のある会話ってのが、どの程度の価値かってことだが。
To be fair, the definition of a date
ま
is
あいいか。
the most ridiculous thing.
いつになくきついじゃねえか、青崎。
The fact that it's like, it isn't unless you both agree, but you can say it is, and then the other person will be like, it's not, and then the whole thing's ruined. That
ちょっと
sucks.
ね。今愛嬌振りまける状況じゃないのよ。
不思議だ。この2年間で青崎の愛嬌なんてものは見たことがないんだが。
飛び丸のいない時に振りまいてたの。
そうかよ。やっぱりあの時のこと恨んでるんだろう。 生徒会長さんはよ。
There's only one thing that Tobimaru could be talking about. The incident that occurred in the student council room this past summer.
ずいぶんと昔の話じゃないそれ。そんなどうでもいいことに容量を使っちゃもったいないわよ。ただでさえ
Dang.
脳の覚醒部分が少ないのに。
She's brutal. As the conversation wore on, Aoko's murderous aura began to fade, and her sharp gaze gave way to a calmer demeanor rarely seen from her. It's quite possible that nobody besides Tobimaru had ever seen this side of her at school before.
ご忠告どうも。俺だってあんなことは忘れてよ。ただ、さっきその字がバカなこと言いやがるから、つい思い出しちまったんだよ。くそ、考えてみりゃ場所まで一緒じゃねえか。
Despite his ranting, his face betrayed a touch of nostalgia. Aoko, on the other hand, was scowling.
ちょっと待って。あの話、彼にしたの？
おう、俺がてめえに、なんで会長になんか立候補したのよ。あんたは副会長って顔でしょ、どう見ても。なんて挑発されて、生涯最高の月をしたところまでな。
Aoko let out a sigh, as if relieved that Tobimaru had not told Soujyuro the rest of the story about how she did air combos on him in the corner. Even she wasn't sure why.
あれは確かにびっくりするぐらいいい月だった。思わず体が反応しちゃったものね。
Oh, she pressed shield.
ところで、私そんなこと言ったっけ？
言った。しかも俺が保健室に運ばれたのをこれ幸いと強引に副会長にしやがった。
I knew that'd be the end of I knew there'd be a part of it where she beat him up. Since that day, Tobimaru had served as the vice president, the person who usurped the role from him.
いいけどな。俺に会長職は合わねえって分かったし、副会長の方が性に合ってやがる。会長なんてやってたら、危うく親父みたいな野郎になってただろうしよ。
I'd never want to be the top. Being the second means that there's always someone you can talk to above, and that's much better.
プライド高い分、できることは全部やるからね、飛びま。会長職に先進するあまり、気がついたら優等生になってたあんたも見たかったけど。
やめてくれ、ゾッとしねえ。猫かぶるのはお前だけで十分だ。
Tobimaru shooed Aoko away like an annoying pest. It was a typical example of the crude verbal abuse they exchanged on a regular basis, with a wittiness that only two lifelong foes could manage.
で、なんでそんな話したのよ。
は？
半年前のここの事件を。
ああ、そっちか。いや、あいつがバカなこと口走ったからなんだが。
He stopped himself before he said any more. He knew better than to let slip the fact that Soujyuro had a thing for Aoko. Everyone knew guys don't sell each other out like that, even if it was all in truth a misunderstanding.
それより、さっきのはないんじゃねえのか、青崎。お前、宗十郎に恨みでもあんの
？7日以上前の恨みを引きずるほど、私はお姫様じゃないつもりだけど。
He wanted to retort that she was more like a queen than a princess. But he'd come to know her all too well over the past few years. Did he give himself a hold like that?
恨みはないね。それにしちゃ、恋に喧嘩売ってただろ。確かに調子の狂うやつだが、あいつほどいいやつはいねえだろうに。
He's got a lot of smiley, happy bones, that's for sure. What's that face?
おい待て。
Yeah.
なんだその足元のシロアリを見るかのような態度は。
What are you trying to say?
別に。あんたまでそのセリフを言うのかって、心底から見避け果てただけよ。
Dang.
まあ、いっか。いいやつ、いい人、結構じゃない？喧嘩を売る相手としちゃ上等だわ。誰も憎んであげないなら、私ぐらいそうしないとね。
I just say the love of detail in this classroom is just freaking gorgeous. She said casually, having regained her composure.
しないとねって、お前。
Tobimaru could not follow her reasoning at all. Tobimaru was used to Aoko's erratic trains of thoughts, but hating Soujyuro for no reason seemed needlessly cruel. His friend's naive and innocent face came to mind. That is innocent. But then he blurted,
けど、 宗十郎は青崎が好きなんだぜ。
Ah,
それでも嫌いなのか？
dang. His vow of silence had lasted not even 2 minutes.
いや、今のはな、青崎。
Like respect, right? He tried to take it back, but it was too late. She had heard his words loud and clear. All he could hope for now was that she would take it well.
そりゃそうでしょ。好き嫌いは誰にもあるし。けどこればかりはね。彼が私と仲良くしたいって言っても、私は嫌いなんだから仕方ない。
Stone cold Aoko with the stunner out of nowhere. Tobimaru found himself filled with indignation at how detached Aoko was being.
いや、そんなお友達感覚の話じゃなくてだな。そういう好き嫌いじゃなくて、その字は本気でお前に惚れてるって言ったんだよ。
He shouted, his face the embodiment of sincerity. Aoko gave him a blank stare. It was the face of someone who had lost their wallet hours earlier and was only just realizing it now. That's the worst feeling ever. The first instant of doubt that ushers in the reality of the situation. But an instant is all it was.
Ne?
She answered coolly, as if she had no idea why it should matter to her at all.
出ときたか。鬼でもなけりゃ悪魔だな。お前って女は。よかろう。聞こえなかったのならもう一度言ってやる。
Tobimaru gave up any pretense of masculine solidarity and fired back hard.
いいわよ、そんなの。つまらないもの。
Dang. Dang, she ruthlessly cut him off. Thinking of the boys who still harbored unrequited love for Aoko, Tobimaru tried hard to come up with a name befitting the demoness in front of him.
なるほどね。それでさっきの話に結びつくわけだ。へえ。
Oh, that face.
柄にもなく友達思いじゃない？殿下。
That's a terrifying face. There's a strength to that that scares me.
聞くも無残、語るも無情っていう私の噂話。教えてあげたんでしょ？
She laughed as a fiendish smile adorned her face. Tobimaru repented to God, whoever and wherever he or she might be, for ever bringing up Aoko's love life.
飛び丸にしちゃ正しい判断ね。褒めてあげるから、
Oh no.
どんな話をしたのか聞きたいな、私。
Oh no. She was smiling, but Tobimaru wished she'd at least try to hide the bloodlust.
代表作とここでの事件を2つばかり。
Aoko nodded with satisfaction as she listened to Tobimaru's hesitant answer.
こういう時、噂話って便利よね。うるさいのを追っ払ってくれるから。でも、そんな話を考えなしで広めたら大変だから、これからは気をつけてね。
Had this been in writing, the chillingly sweet tone of her words could have been signed with the heart. I mean, you could have. We read it. Whether angry or happy, Aoko spoke in a disturbingly cute manner when she was in a heightened emotional state. Tobimaru took note of this new discovery, aware that it did nothing to get him out of this situation.
ああ、俺も命は惜しいからな。口はもう滑らねえよ。
It's a good skill to know when to shut up.
けどよ、青崎。本気で宗十郎が嫌いなのか？
He knew that it was a topic he would be better off avoiding, but he tried asking anyway. I mean, he was dead regardless. The bonds between men at times shine more beautifully than a pearl.
まあ、好きじゃないから嫌いっていうわけじゃないけど、私が彼のことを嫌う理由は自分でもわからない。
It's fine. Sometimes you just meet someone's vibes and you're like, nah, I ain't feeling this.
だからダメなのね、きっと。
Perhaps to placate Tobimaru, Aoko paused in contemplation before she answered. Giving it a moment without immediately blurting out a response meant that not even he could complain.
そうか。まあ、そういうことならしょうがねえか。何しろ、綺麗さっぱり感情論だ。お互い理由もなく好きと嫌いじゃ、手を貸す隙間もねえわけだし。
Thinking that'd be the end of it, Tobimaru looked up toward the ceiling and silently apologized to Soujyuro. However, his final sentence appeared to have piqued Aoko's interest.
待って。今の、どういう意味？
Her faux cheer had vanished. Failing to pick up on this, Tobimaru answered nonchalantly.
いや、あいつもさ、青崎に惚れた理由がわからないなんて言いやがってよ。ああ、違ったか。理由なんてないなんて意味だったかな。
Tobimaru was still in disbelief that Soujyuro had been charmed by Aoko's appearance, so he purposely left that part out.
理由はないですって。
Oh no.
ああ、なんで。俺がいくらお前の噂話をしても無駄だった。天津さえなんて言ってたかな。あ、そうそう。
Buddy.
理由はどうあれ、青崎の心配は本物なんだとか、自分はそれで助かってるとか、俺なんかには言えないセリフだったのは確かだね。
With just a little bit of pressure, he lets it all out.
はっきりしてんのは、他の野郎どもと違って、噂を聞いても手を引く素振りなんざみじんもなかったってことだけ。
Tobimaru finally noticed a shift in Aoko's demeanor. Oh, she's mad. She was scowling at the wall. She glared at it in silence like it was her worst enemy, and this continued for several minutes. Oh, she is so mad.
さっきといい、それといい、どこかで聞いたようなことばっかり。
She is so mad. She's vibrating. Yo. So great was her ire that the gnashing of her teeth was audible. The irritation seethed until it reached a point that Aoko forgot Tobimaru was even in the room. Tobimaru looked heavenward for forgiveness, sensing that he brought further calamity down upon Sojuro's head.
少しわかったわ。なんであいつが気に食わないのか。
Tobimaru looked away as if to indicate that he'd rather not know, but Aoko ignored him and began to grumble venomously.
あいつ、私が嫌いなやつと言動が似てるのよ。
One person I could think you're talking about.
誰彼構わずいい人扱いされるところとか、妙にふわふわしてるところとか、いちいち私の勘に触るところとか。
90% certain I know exactly who you're talking about. Glancing idly up at the clock, Tobimaru thought the last part just sounded like misplaced anger. And that was that. 1 o'clock had come and gone.
わかった。もういい。この話をした俺が悪かった。で、俺に用ってのはなんだよ。言っとくけど、もう授業始まってるぜ。
え？授業って、なんで？いつ？
Oh.
いや、さっきその字が出てってから、青崎がギラーンって壁に睨んでた時にチャイムが鳴ったんだよ。いいのか、生徒会長。5次元目ばっくれて。
That's an epic fail. She's so mad.
いいわけないでしょ。なんで黙ってんのよ、あんたは。
I really like angry Aoko a lot. She looked like she was on the verge of tears as she shouted and pulled at his necktie. Tobimaru raised his hands in mock surrender, a gesture reserved only for the true victor.
蚊の方がエレガントなんて言いやがった仕返しだ。
Dang.
思い知るがいい。男の純情を踏みにじったり焼き殺したりするエリート悪魔め。
Dude just gave her like a Persona 5 boss title.
相変わらず細かく根に持つ男。言動には言動で返しなさいよね、卑怯者。
She tightened his necktie around his neck with a yank. The Vice President smiled a thuggish grin as if her reaction made this victory much sweeter.
お前の古典が破滅に向かっているのは周知の事実。そして A 組の5次元目は言うまでもない。藤代のばあさん。青崎のこと嫌ってるしな。
Soujyuro had one of the longest tenures at the school. It was only natural she would be in charge of teaching the classics.
ああ、こんなところで俺のネクタイを引っ張る余裕があるのなら、急いで自分の教室に立ち返るがいい。情けだ。別に止めはしねえよ。
くそ、あんたなんかにはめられるなんて。このまま死んでしまえ。
She choked him even harder with his necktie. He's like, joke's on you, I like that. As Aoko put words into action and mercilessly strangled Tobimaru, he saw his life flash before his eyes. Oh wait,
当に死んじまうだろうが。今ならまだ間に合う。10分過ぎたら遅刻から欠席扱いだぞ。
Oh, she's actually going in on him. Aoko glanced up at the clock. It was still only 7 past 1. Her route from the student council room on the second floor to the Class A on the third floor. If she ran, she could make it.
命拾ったわね、飛び丸。
Aoko clicked her tongue disappointedly. What disturbed Tobimaru was that it didn't sound like an empty threat.
あと放課後、ここにいて。頼みたいことがあるのは本当なんだから。
It won't be like, it's not die, is it? Oh, that door. She was halfway out the room before she even finished her sentence. Finally, all alone, Tobimaru closed the open door, locked it, and slumped into a chair.
たく。ああしてる分には楽しいやつなんだけどよ。青崎は。
Enough to make you forget about the flamethrower talk. That's the wrong button. He leaned back in the creaky folding chair and let out a sigh. The weather outside was beautiful, but the sunlight waned early in the winter. Before long, daylight would fade and the unheated student council room would grow colder and colder. All the good equipment like the heater had ended up in the main office, so we had no choice but to settle in for a chilly afternoon.
こんな天気が続けばいいんだがね。天気予報じゃまた雲行き怪しいって話だが。
After his somewhat suggestive monologue, Tobimaru's mind drifted. Adley wondered to himself whether Soujyuro was an overcast day or clear day sort of guy, but no answers came. We just gonna ignore the ghosts? I guess so. Anyways, hey, look at that. Perfect point to call it. Sounds good. We're gonna hit that big ol' save here. Also, this is hilarious. I completely missed this and people pointed it out. If I go to the options, if I go to the voice, it literally has her real name there. Completely missed that. So yeah, you are the sister of the sister. That's hilarious that it's, I mean, you knew right away. It was pretty obvious to put together, but still pretty funny. Anyways, yeah, that will do that for this part. We got to kind of meet some more of these characters and get more of Soujyuro. A little bit of Aoko at the end there, but otherwise, thank you all for watching, guys. We'll see you next time for some more. Let's read Witch on the Holy Night. Ciao.